Om Sadashiva Samarambam Shankaracharya Madhyamam Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam Ishvaro Guratmeti Multibeda Vibhagine Vyomabda Vyapta Dehaya Dakshinamurtaye Namaha Sabha Vedanta Siddhanta Gocharam Tamagocharam Govindam Paramanandam Satguru Pranatosh Maham Om Shanti 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 Om Namaste. Okay, sixth chapter Gita. We are on the topic of meditation, of dhyānam. And we saw that when the meditation is practiced upon, let's say, Saguna, Brahman, Saguna, Ishvara, it's called Upasana. When it's focused on Nirguna, Brahman, Ishvara, is called Nididhyasana. And we are just seeing the verse that explains which ones, certain disciplines, they are just general disciplines such as Kama Yoga, and they prepare the mind, and then the mind, once the mind is prepped, the mind becomes fit to begin entering the world of upasana, let's say. And then, as we know, we need to have an object of meditation in order to be considered a Vedantic or a spiritual religious practice. It must be a symbol of God. If it's not a symbol of God, it's materialism, but it serves for mental concentration, developing one-pointedness. There are many sorts of meditations that meditate on something that you wish you have, and but they don't really represent what we call spiritual religious dhyānam. Now, in order to be meditation, needs to be involving God. So we have to observe our simple living, and we have seen many things in regards to this preliminary kind of sadhanas, which is better represented or illustrated as Kama Yoga, the observation of Dharma and Kama Yoga, and then Upasana come right after that, once we have established our relationship with Ishvara. And then we saw last time that Ishvara Pranidhana means surrender to the Lord. It's one of the aspects of austerity, simple living, and tapaha. Living a very simple life is part of the lifestyle or preliminary things, so that we can develop a mind capable to do upasana. And then among several things, there is the concept of surrendering to Ishvara, surrendering to God. It means surrender to the laws of karma, as we have seen last class. Because Ishvara is the karma pala datam, aquele que is the one who provides us with our results. And we have to surrender to that, because Ishvara is not really a superjiva or a physical material entity. Ishvara is its laws. We often say, like, Ishvara is the system, the Mithya system. So what is Ishvara? It's the laws by which it holds this apparent reality so that we can interact and grow. So we need to surrender to the laws of the law. The laws are much more tangible. We know that there are laws. we can't grasp what is Ishvara except to say, oh, it is a being, a self-conscious being made out of pure knowledge and intelligence. Okay, but anything a little bit more tangible, yes, observe the laws of nature, the laws of creation. That is a bit more tangible. So what is surrendering to the Lord? Surrender to its laws. And karma is the most fundamental law as far as the human jiva is concerned. I mean, the entire universe seems to have been projected for the human jivas, or any jiva with a certain intelligence, enabling him or her to learn from experience, to learn from duality. So we know that here in our planet, the human jivas, they have this concern about ethic, moral, and karmic, nature. So if you are immoral, so you're in trouble. If you don't conform to the psychological laws, the ethical, moral laws, you are in trouble and your mind is going to be disturbed. So there are several laws, physical, chemical, or whatever laws, cosmic laws. And there are some laws which are intrinsically designed for the human jivas. Those are the ethic, moral, psychological laws. You understand? We need to understand that so that we can develop a peaceful mind, a mind fit for upasana and nididhyasana. So once we understand that, we do accept. The notion, the concept is accept everything as prasada. Prasada is something maybe easier to understand if we translate that to opportunity. Just take it as a prasada, take it as an opportunity to correct something, to improve yourself, to change the direction of your life, to give up some old habits and tendencies and attitudes. Take everything as an opportunity, take it as prasada. Prasada had a connotation of something sweet that you enjoy. So when adversity comes, it's not that easy to enjoy, but you can take it as an opportunity, a great opportunity. I accept everything as the Ishvara will, the will of God. We can try to improve the future because future has not yet come. So I have to correct my attitudes, words, and deeds so that I can begin producing a potential better future for myself as an entity. And what you mean by acceptance? So there was somebody, Swamiji presents someone's objection. So what do you mean by acceptance? I have no choice. I have to accept my parabada. No, accept means to say not to suffer. If you say, I accept, but I'm miserably suffering, you are not really accepting. Accept should offset to a certain degree the element of psychological suffering if you really understand the system and you really take it to be a great opportunity to correct yourself. So that's what it means, accepting. It's an attitude that's going to stop experience to generate negative emotions and feelings. It is a cheerful acceptance, if possible. It's painful, but I do not have complaints. I'm a mature individual. It's painful, but I accept the laws and principles of the Creator, and I take everything as it is. And then this further understanding, which is a little bit more profound, is that I get what I deserve. You need to have such an integrity, intellectual integrity, you know, I'm getting what I deserve. But how so? You remember, you must have done some horrible things. Huh? I don't remember, but if it's coming, I trust that I deserve it, you know? I mean, it may be coming from previous births. This is really acceptance based on knowledge of what? Of Ishvara's system, which involves reincarnation. I never complain, I never blame God or anybody. If anything, I ask the Lord to give me the strength to deal with adversity. Surrender means surrender. Prapati means surrender. This is the fifth aspect of this sadhana. Yeah? Tapas, Ishvara, Pranidhana, purity, contentment, austerity, scripture study, surrender to the Lord. He's talking, of course, about the system of Patanjali's. So I'm not very familiar with that. But Swamiji said that Lord Krishna did not go much into that, but I will go into that. And we thank Swamiji to present Patanjali's from the perspective of a good Vedantine we are. Yeah? Vedantines we are. And then he says that of these 5 niyamas, the last 3 together is what became known in the West as Kriya Yoga. Is another name for Karma Yoga. So Tapa, Svadhyaya, Ishvara, Krishna, Kriya Yoga. So there is one institution, then he said in the USA, they are very popular. He says that they use the word Kriya Yoga. Kriya Yoga is nothing but a thing taken from Patanjali's Yoga Sutra. According to Patanjali Yoga Sutra, what is Kriya Yoga? Is tapas plus svadhyaya plus Ishvara pranidhana, acceptance, surrender to the, is equal to Kriya Yoga, which is called in the Gita, is referred to as Karma Yoga. So 10 commandments, 5 things to be avoided and 5 things should be done. The do's and the don'ts, and the 10 commandments of Vedanta. These 10 commandments are going to make a moral person, an ethical person, a gentle person, a cultured person, a refined person, a decent person. So if we observe these do's and do nots present in the Patanjali's yoga. And then they say, if I follow yama and yama, and let's remember, they are under Bahiranga Sadhana. So it is the general disciplines before I specifically enter into dhyāna or upasana. An indecent person, for example, an unrefined person cannot sit in meditation, not even for a few minutes. So he has to step back and go back to the do's and do nots of every religious structure. And the advantage with Vedanta is that it's much more sophisticated in the sense that it presents the technology, the knowledge, the rationale to support one's effort to observe Dharma and be an ethical and refined, decent person. An indecent person can never sit in meditation because his own actions will disturb the mind. His own thoughts and attitudes are going to be disturbing the mind. So does yama and yama come under Bahiranga sadhanas according to Patanjali? Yama number 1, yama number 2, yama subdivision 5, Niyama subdivision 5. So now he says that yama has five subdivisions and niyama has five subdivisions, if I'm correct in interpreting this one. So the third step of Ashtanga yoga is asana. So once we went through all those preliminary sadhanas that makes a person a dharmic, fair, and ethical person, and then we are kind of fit to enter into asanas. So asanas is a practice by which you train your body to be in a certain posture, which is more conducive to meditation. If you have any doubts or difficult to understand that, so try to meditate sitting in a couch, those couches we sit to watch TV, with your spine curved, it's almost impossible with that posture to experience a quiet, silent, focused mind. So it's a good thing to develop the posture. And the posture will depend on many physical aspects and limitations of every person. So at its base, it requires some certain training. In the old days, it was easy, but nowadays, we are so used to sit in chairs in the office or home that we have trouble to sitting in the best possible position for meditation. I remember one boy, he's Indian, and he settled in America, and then he came and had his Upasanayanam in our ashram, and Swamiji asked him to teach Sadhya Vandanam. And the first step, you told to fold the legs and to sit. The first step, he says, fold your legs and sit. There itself, began the problem for most of us. No chair, there is no, now I'm an old man, I cannot sit in that position. Remember, folding the legs is not easy. So therefore, you sit in a particular posture which is comfortable. A posture that keeps your mind alert, and a posture that you can sustain for at least 20 minutes without changing your position. Changing the position of the leg, change of G's, and scratch the hair, the head, and so on. So I will not watch out for all those things without changing the posture, without movement. So if you can sit for 15 to 20 minutes without change your position, and sometimes you don't change your position, but there is always something in the mind which is changed, that when you see the hand is doing something such as, you know what I mean? So we need to train the physical body and the mind to stay, fit without changing much. So the fourth step is called pranayama. So as we know, the asanas are going to deal with the physical body, anamaya kosha. Pranayama is going to deal with pranamaya kosha. Okay, you guys give me 10 seconds, please. Thank you. So the fourth step is pranayama. It deals with the pranamaya kosha, the pranas, and it's done by addressing the breath rather than the body. So we can do meditation. We can do our sadhanas beginning from whatsoever level it's easier for us. We can do by addressing the physical body with the asanas. We can do with addressing the pranas by regulating or observing the pranas, because there is a well-established relation or connection between the prana and the mind. Our goal is to have a controlled mind, a regulated mind. So we begin with the body. A lot of people who do asanas, they call it yoga, and they mostly believe that it's a means by itself. And the people enjoy not only because they come out from a session of asana yoga, they come out feeling physically better, but they feel mentally more relaxed as well. So as we know, that does not last very long, because the real problem was never addressed, but it's a good way to begin. So we do it from the physical to the prana, and then later on, we can address everything attacking or tapping directly into the mind. Okay. Regulating the breath, which is called in the fifth, which Krishna talked about in the 5th chapter. And therefore, pranayama is regulation of breath. If you regulate the breath, you're going to, quote unquote, engage the mind, okay? Just as a bird can be captured in a cage, so the wandering mind can be captured as well in a cage, meaning to say, can be regulated and disciplined by regulating one's pranas. Therefore, the outgoing mind is brought to your body. So this is pranayama, the 4th step. It is encased. Similarly, pranayama encages your mind within your body itself. So the outgoing mind is kind of brought back to the body. This would be the 4th step. The 5th step is pratyahara, which means withdrawal of the sense organs. So we are talking about discipline of the physical body, discipline of the prana body. Now we are entering the discipline of the sense organs, and later on, discipline of the thoughts and mind. So the 5th step is withdrawal of the sense organs from the external world. The wandering sense organs are pulled back, which Krishna talked about in the previous verse. And how one should withdraw from all the sense organs, and also the eyes should be withdrawn. It should be as though looking at the tip of the nose, or in between your eyes, eyebrows. Okay. Okay, there is a lot of yoga terminology that I'm not familiar with. It should be as though looking at the tip of the nose. So as we know, closing the eyes can represent a problem, because one may say like, no, I just close my eyes and then I don't need to direct my vision to the tip of my nose or between my eyes or whatever, I close my eyes. By closing the eyes, as we know, it can produce sleep. You may start dozing away, and then I should be as kind of keeping my eyes a little bit open, not to fall asleep, but at the same time, not allow it to be fixed anywhere. In a yogic terminology corresponding to Dhamma of Vedanta Dhamma word used once upon a time. In Tattva Bodha class, we use the word Sama Dhamma, Sama Dhamma Uparana Titiksha. Dhamma means all the controls, the energies that need to be disciplined or regulated. Those pranas. In Vedanta Shastra, in Yoga Shastra, pratyahara is sense control. So it's the same thing. How to control the sense. So you have to control all these energies and the sense organs as well. So these three steps, asana, pranayama, and pratyahara, will come under antaranga sadhanani. So you see, even these things that he's being described here is still under antaranga, okay? So asana, pranayama, and so let's say asanas, and then meditation, regulation of the breaths, and then controlling the sense organs. All of these are still in the category of antaranga sadhana. Can you see the difference? Why we are calling like that? Because yama and yama are disciplines to be observed throughout the day. Whereas these last few, it's something that specifically needs to be done in the silent space of my puja room or meditation room. One thing is a general discipline, the other is a specific discipline. But we will see, even these Bariranga sadhanas, they are not yet dhyāna, but they are still specific preparation for dhyāna. We will see. Whereas asana, pranayama, and pratyahara are the disciplines not to be observed during the day, but in my meditation room. And don't observe these disciplines during the Vedanta class as well. He's saying here, if you practice pranayama in the Vedanta class, the class will be wasted. Just before meditation, then you practice these things. Before meditation, we are doing all those things, regulating the breath, adjusting my posture, and controlling the sense. All of these are prep work for dhyāna or meditation, okay? Because we tend to see it all as meditation, but meditation is something else, and he's going to describe what dhyāna means here. And thereafter comes the last three stages, dhāraṇa, dhyāna, and samādhi. This is very important. It clarifies a lot. At least it did clarify a lot to me. It stands, which stands to dhyāna is svarūpam. So these three aspects of dhāraṇa, dhyāna, and samādhi are said to be the three, what is it? The nature of meditation. It consists of three stages. The three stages or the nature of meditation or dhyāna present in three stages. Dhāraṇa, dhyāna, and samādhi. Put together is called the nature of meditation. So once we have done all that prep work, some of them in the light of Karma Yoga, no? Observing Dharma and understanding the laws and principles of Ishvara, no? The laws of karma, as we have seen, and everything. Develop an attitude of acceptance and positively receiving everything as an opportunity, everything, and then you enter into the specific preliminary stage of Vipassana, which begins with asana, and yama, actually, yama and jnana and asana. Some of them are bahiranga, prep work, and then asana is already antaranga, okay? So asana, and then control of the pranas, discipline of the pranas, and discipline of the sense organs. And then finally enough, we come to the last stage, which is the three-stage called dharana, dhyānam, and samādhi, which is the nature of dhyānam. These three stages put together is giving a technical name by Patanjali, and that name is Atma Samyamaha. In Patanjali's Yoga Sutra, it is said which three, dharana, dhyāna, and samādhi put together is called samyama. Okay, samyama is the combination of these three things put together, as he said in the previous sentence. Patanjali gives a different name to it, samyama, which is actually meditation. So what is the difference between dharana, dhyāna, and samādhi? So we can guess it, and we're going to see in details here, beautifully and clearly presented by Swamiji. Thus, the 8 steps, first 2 are bahiranga sadhana, and the next 3 are antaranga sadhana, which is all of that we have seen. Control, discipline in the pranas, and the posture, and the sense organs. And the last 3 is meditation, what is called samyama, which is the 3 stages of meditation. These 3 stages alone, in the following verses, are going to be explained. Dharana, dhyāna, samādhi stage. Now, the question is, what are these 3? Dharana means turning the mind away from the world and fixing on one object, on the my object of meditation. So the first step is dharana. Dharana is to pull the mind from the mind. Now we are not talking anymore about the sense organ. That was to prep everything. So now that I have my sense organs under control, my breath under control, I'm sitting on a proper posture and so on. And then I'm going to deal with the most subtle, the most difficult, which is the mind. The first thing is to control the wandering mind, taking the mind away from the objects outside, and not outside because I'm keeping my eyes almost closed, but the inner thoughts, the world which is contained within my own mind. So I have to turn the mind away from the thoughts and the objects of the world. And I have to fix the mind on my object of meditation. Dhāraṇa means focusing, one-pointedness, fixing and holding. This is called dharana. It's a huge effort, as most of us know. Controlling and the wandering mind, and bring it to stay fixed, holding in my object of meditation. And then he gives us an analogy like taking a picture. You have to adjust the mind so that once you have very clearly your object of meditation, you don't let your hands, a camera, you may lose it. So you don't let your mind tremble. And you hold the focus, okay? And then he talks about So this effort is called dhyāna, and the object of meditation will vary according to the level of the student. Before Vedanta, Shravana, Manana, Nididhyasana, the object of meditation is almost invariably in any Ishta Devata or Krishna or anyone. You have your deity, and then you use that deity. If you don't have a deity, you're going to meditate on something else. But if it's not a clear representation symbol of Ishvara, that is not considered spiritual meditation, but an exercise of one-pointedness, a focus. So Ishtadevas in the Yoga Shastras is also referred to the different chakras within the body. Anything in this world can be meditated upon if we take those phenomenal objects or those objects of meditation or as expressions of Ishvara. Okay. And then he says, so a deity can be an inner deity or outer deity, a photo, a picture, a sculpture, or it can be elements of nature such as the sun, the sunlight, the moon. Now, anything must be a representation of the Lord. It should always be a representation of the Lord. It always should be related to God, to Ishvara. So only then it's called dhyāna. Otherwise, it's just an exercise of focus. In Swami said there is no question of atheistic meditation. Meditation must mean theistic only. If I do not have relation to God, if I don't meditate on a principle or a symbol of God, it's never going to be called dhyāna, meditation in the true sense of this sadhana as a spiritual sadhana. It will only be called an exercise in concentration. Exercise of concentration. There are so many exercises of concentration. Why? You concentrate on something that we love, or most of the time, something that I love, I wish to have, but I do not have, but I want to have. And then I try to concentrate on something I wish to have as if I could manifest reality by concentrate upon a desire, a thought, you know. So anything can be used as an exercise of concentration, but concentration is not a spiritual sadhana, okay? No matter how subtle may be your object of concentration, how subtle your desire may be, yeah? But yet it's samsara. It has nothing to do with God, unless you see that object, that subtle or dense object, as a true symbol of God. You have to keep God in your heart all the time. If it's something that is just self-interest, because I want to have that subtle object, whatever, you know, interdimensional accomplishments or trips, or I can practice that. I can draw a picture and then I put a dot in front of the middle of the picture, and I learn to look at that without winking the eye. It is an exercise in concentration, but we would not call it dhyāna. To call it dhyāna, there is a fundamental prerequisite. It should be a symbol of God. That is why dhyāna is defined as saguna, brahma, vijaya, manasa, vyaparaha. A mental activity associated with God. A mental activity associated with God, not with something that I wish to have. If any mental activity would be defined as meditation, all our fears and worries would be meditation as well. We are very good in meditating upon things that we desire or we fear. Yeah. The worries is when the mind is fixated with things that we fear. And hope is when the mind is fixated with things that I wish to have. But that is not meditation. From this, it's very clear that removing the thoughts also is not meditation. It's not recommended by the Vedas and Vedanta. Because if you remove all the thoughts, where is mental activity taking place? The purpose of our meditation is meditating in the saguna nature of God, and then furthermore, nirguna nature of God. So we must have some mental activity taking place. Absence of mental activity is what many people call silent mind, which is not recommended by Vedanta unless as a preliminary step before which I can turn my silent mind and activate it with mental activities around the notions of God. Mental, spiritual activities require thought. Without thought, you can call it you cannot call it meditation at all. But all over the world, there is the concept that meditation is no mind, a dead, thoughtless state, no thought, emptiness. So everywhere in the world, people believe that meditation is synonymous of no mind. People send me a lot of small quotes here and there coming from Nisargadatta, and not many, but here and there, Nisargadatta and Ramana, in which they suggest that meditation is no thought, no mind. But as we know, they also suggest, especially Ramana, that no mind is not recommended at all. No? You need to inquire howsoever the suggestion of Ramana was in terms of self-inquiry, who am I, but it still is mental activity and mentoring investigation into the nature of the I. No? So therefore, I focus the mind on the object which is called dhāraṇa. So the effort to keep the mind focused on my object on meditation is dhāraṇa. And then what is dhyāna? Then the next stage is called dhyāna. Dhyāna means retaining the mind in that focused object. Before, I'm just pulling the mind from whatsoever wandering it does outside of my object of meditation. I keep bringing it back, bringing it back. And then when I succeeded, and then I make an effort to hold it there. So they are very similar, okay? You keep pulling it back, and then later on, you hold it. It's like any other desire in the world. We want things, we do a lot of action to gain what we want, what we desire. Once we desire, we need to keep it. We need to maintain it, keep it. Retaining the mind in the object of meditation, retain the mind or the thought in the focus object is called dhyāna. Dhāraṇa and dhyāna are very close. Dhāraṇa is the effort of bringing the mind, focusing the mind in my object, and dhyāna is holding the mind there. Again, he brings the example of taking a picture. I focus my camera, and then once I have it properly focused, I should never shake my hands. I hold it, and then I press the button. I click it. The click, the holding, is staying firm. Concentrate on my object of meditation is dhyāna. And this is called dhyāna, retaining, and naturally, when I try to retain my mind in the object, I'm not going to succeed in my attempt. The mind will split off, and then what should I do? Krishna will tell again. It will go like a small babe. You just bring the babe back. You just bring the mind, drag the mind back. So it's not something that we accomplished that easily. And it's not, we don't need to become experts in dhyāna. We just need to have a certain discipline or power to regulate the mind in a way that it does not wander too much, especially when you want to do your nididhyasana or shravana manana. You understand? So you need to have the mind as focused as possible. It's the most difficult meditation, it's nididhyasana, and we're going to get there. It requires most development, preparing. When the mind runs out again, bring it back. This effort to bring it back is called dhyānam. Where is involved? Now he's saying that the effort to bring it back is dhyānam. So dhyāna can bring it back can always be referred to be the previous one, which is dhāraṇa, okay? Because you will make an effort to stay focused and the mind moves out and then you bring it back. Dhāraṇa and dhyāna is very similar. So there is an effort. Now he's talking about the effort that applies to both things. The effort to bring it back, the effort to keep it there, because the last stage is samādhi, which is a effortless kind of state, condition. This whole process of retaining and bringing it back, it's called dhāraṇa and dhyāna. And but the last stage, the 8th stage, is called samādhi. Samādhi means natural absorption in the object of meditation. Very nice. So what is this natural absorption? It's not nirvikalpa samadhi. It's just to have your mind fully at your disposal for your meditation or for your nididhyasana. Okay, you're gonna, okay, now I have controlled my wild mind. Now with this mind, I'm gonna bring it to the attributes of Saguna Brahman, or to the attributeless Nirguna Brahman, my true nature. Yeah? With no distractions. It's I have created a certain kind of a dhyāna stage. Distraction cannot come in here. In dhyāna stage, there is distraction that interrupts the focus. And then there will be effort, struggle. In samadhi, all that struggle ends. When the mind dwells in the object of meditation without struggle, without disturbance, that's called samādhi. In Sanskrit, we call it, it only means the flow of similar sorts, unobstructed by unsimilar sorts. I think there is a mistake in the transcription there. So the first time I heard Swamiji presenting meditation or nididhyasana in these terms, it was many years back. I used to live in Italy. I was walking in the woods, and then I heard that. It was like, wow, that's the best description. Now, it's a flow of similar thoughts which are not obstructed by intrusion of unsimilar thoughts. or worldly thoughts, mundane thoughts, desires and fears. There is no distraction. There is no obstruction. There is a flow, a flow, a flow. Your nididhyasana is just thinking of the nature of Nirguna Brahman as your true nature, your very, very intrinsic nature. So you are there remembering, recalling the teachings. And there is no thoughts about concerns of tomorrow. There is no thoughts about desires. There is nothing come. Everything is left out. Why? I have developed certain qualifications that allow me to go into the Vedantic samadhi, which is not Nirvikalpa samadhi, but it is a dhyāna samadhi or something like that, in which I can just keep my mental activity without any obstruction from other mental mundane activities related to the world, which is equal to, say, a constant flow of similar thoughts. So similar thoughts means godly thoughts, the nature of God. I need not to be, it does not need to be the same thought. People may think like, okay, and then I'm going to hold it on Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi, Aham Brahmasmi. That can become a repetition that may lose its power. You need to allow for all aspects of the teachings to come to the surface, teachings that declare and establish our identity as Satchitananda. And any teaching that is supporting and disclosing that truth, that identity as a fact, can be invited to the party. You understand? You don't need to be just one thought, similar thoughts. Every thought should be associated with the nature of Saguna Brahman, or furthermore, with the nature of Nirguna. When we go into meditate on the Nirguna nature of the self, and then we don't have that many tools, tangible tools, to describe God as this and that, with these attributes, that attribute, And when we go into the nididhyasana, which is the meditation upon Nirguna Brahman as my very identity, nature, the only thing we have are the scriptural, Vedantic Upanishad, scriptural revelations that establish my identity in Brahman as Brahman. And then we recall the teachings. The teachings are available. They are alive. They are alive in my mind. So my mind now is relaxed, it's focused. I recall the teachings and I hold my thoughts, very, very similar thoughts, homogeneously, around my true nature as Satchitananda Brahman. But you can have samadhi around Saguna Brahman. Yes, of course, you feel free. You can have your samadhi, because samadhi is a flow of similar thoughts around the nature of God, but it can be the apparent Saguna nature of God, or it can be the absolute nature of God as myself, the Atma, the self. If I'm looking at the picture of God, first I may see the face or the eyes. Next, I see the mouth of the Lord. Even though the object of meditation has changed from the standpoint of my eyes, from the mouth to the nose, and that, I have to keep the connection, know that all of that is God. Similarly, at one moment, I see the Lord as Savanya, omniscient, and then you're going to go and see attributes which are not physical or are formless. They are just like attributes such as compassion, love, omniscience, and supreme power, intelligence. Any of these other attributes, okay? There is a difference between omniscience and omnipotence. Both are connected to the Lord. So you know that all of these Saguna nature, they refer to the same Lord. The same way that if I focus on the image of the eyes of Krishna and then later on the legs of Krishna, they all refer to the same Lord Krishna. That's the point here. That is God and God alone. All the thoughts should be connected to this Lord. The thoughts can be changed. He explaining in which way the thoughts do not need to be the same. They can be different, but they have to be of the same nature. You understand? They have to be what is the expression? The similar thoughts, homogeneous thoughts. Okay, so you can be thinking of different aspects or attributes of the Lord according to the deity, but know that it's all the Lord. Your mind is in the Lord, and when we bring it, we make the parallel to nididhyasana. So we don't have many things which describes the Lord as myself, as Nirguna Atma. But we have some pointers here and there, the nature of God, Akarta, Abhokta, Nirvikara, and everything, limitlessness, pure consciousness, one without us, everything, it keeps clicking, and you keep, revolving around those declarations or revelations about the nature of the attributeless Brahman as we are, you understand? But we have some material there that allows us to keep holding mental activities around something which does not even have attributes and qualities, you understand? But it has its nature as myself. Okay. He keeps giving a lot of other examples. All of them relate to Saguna Brahman, so Saguna Lord, using different of these Vedic deities. And then he brings the symbol of ghee. Ghee is a huge symbol as well in the Vedic culture. And then as if I'm going to meditate on the vessel of the ghee, I think maybe that's the point here, or the flute, anything, you just, you have so much room for butter, okay, it's viscous, it's, there is no way you can, there is no gap in it, in between, just as a broken flow is there. Similarly, this is called what samādhi is unbroken flow of viscous liquids such as ghee. So different ways we play with something which is a good representation of one single, one only God alone. What is the central aim around all of this? My mind has to dwell upon the Lord. That is the main thing. And I think we got the point, huh? Any doubts? Suppose a person has studied Vedanta and he has gone beyond Saguna Ishvara. He has gone beyond formed God. He entered the formless God. He has understood Aham Brahmasmi. Then for him, the object of meditation is not a personal Namarupa kind of God, but the object of meditation is Nirguna Brahman. And then he has to hold to those thoughts such as Aham Brahmasmi. There also such is required even for the meditation upon Nirguna Brahman. Such is required, as we know, A thought flow is required, and it has to be of the same nature, okay? It should not allow for any unsimilar or impure or thoughts or worldly thoughts or any other thoughts. There are many declarations and aspects of the teachings that allows us to do dhyāna, which is called to be our Vedantic meditation. Okay, so I have to go. I have an appointment in town. We meet again Monday with Mandukya. Okay. Om Purnamada Purnamidam Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnamevavashishyate. Om Shanti 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 Om. Namaste. Thank you. Good weekend to you all.